See, when the lights flash and you remember you have zero training in hitting or submitting people, that's when you realize fighting a little easier from outside of the cage. It looks simple. There's very little adrenaline. I don't know why more people don't do it, which means it is time for Verbal Tap. I am your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raph Esparza. Raph, CM Punk, what a draw, right? Is that what we're saying?
Here's the joke I'm going with. We'll explain it, obviously, in a few seconds when Dave gets on the show. Great guest this week. Nice recap, too, over under Kevin. But here's the joke I'm going with now. Our good friend, Drew, over at Because Jitsu and I, we're having a good laugh at this whole expense because the CM Punk thing, I think, is come and gone. It's been a fun time talking about it. It's been even better watching so many great people who make great memes make terrible jokes about it. Because there's only so much you can say about somebody who doesn't have any experience. And I feel like this is going to be something that haunts us forever from people who are incapable of really solid analysis. When it really comes down to why the UFC is bad, they're going to jump to, well, CM Punk. And we're going to go, we know. We all lived it. So I put up a Simpsons meme, which is, let's never talk about this again. And then Drew and I made one together. And he was talking about the fact that, you know, there was a lot of strikes that weren't really thrown. And I said, that's because a lot of people don't talk about insignificant strikes. And for fights like this, I think that's a statistic that I want to see a bar chart for, a pie graph for. And he very quickly put together a meme that I believe is setting the internet ablaze. But if there's one thing we can learn from this, Kev, it's I don't want to do this. That was a bad fight. I know it's not giving too much away. I know a lot of people say they'll never watch the UFC again, and that's dumb too. There are a lot of great fighters.
I'm over it. I'm done.
There are a lot of great fighters who deserve it.
They love Trump. They don't like America, and it's just all bullshit in politics. Their ratings are garbage, Raph.
But if I can bring up one thing, which is this. When people are asking why, somebody made a comment on one of our memes that said the UFC doesn't need star or star power. And I just laughed at it because that's the whole reason CM Punk was on there. And the numbers are going to support it. I think that it did well. It's already gotten a live gate that's numbers are out of the park. But I'll ask you this, Kev. You know the UFC's coming to LA pretty soon, right?
I've heard rumor.
Okay, so they're coming, I think, like August or so. Do you know what their co-main event for their August card is?
Is this the Dillashaw card?
Uh-huh.
No, I don't know what the co-main is.
It is Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and Henry Cejudo.
That's fun.
We've seen it. And you know what? We're good.
Yeah.
And so the saddest part of this whole scenario is it's not that these two guys aren't great fighters. It's that you have Demetrius Johnson, who has to be put on a card that has a healthy LA market value to it. And they're saying, please show up for this. Because this guy has been trying to show he has a personality, went to Twitch, finally was able to make a name for himself in playing video games, because a lot of you guys do that, and said, hey, look, I'm normal, but I also happen to be in the running for GOAT. But you wouldn't even know that because you think I'm boring as fuck. So I guess the morality of this, and my challenge to people is, Kev, if you really want to show the UFC that CM Punk was a failed experiment, maybe, just maybe, promote the fighters you are actually interested in seeing and show up for them, because that's a way better way of protesting. And if you don't like giving them money in their pocket, tough shit.
I love how hot fire you are whenever there's wrestling. Like, there's always more emotion in it for Raph when there's a pro wrestler on the card. That's what we're seeing here. It does feel like we've hit a point, and I think the ESPN stuff is going to balloon this, where the disorganization of everything surrounding the UFC is going to catch up to them. Because if you treat ESPN journalists like they treat us or anyone else, it's going to be a non-fucking starter. They're going to be like, yeah, you guys are insane and you're lunatics and you're definitely going to go out of business. That said, Raph, it's so funny the way there's such a paradox. Like on one hand, they're going to call and see if they can get Colby Covington's wrestling boring ass in for the one whatever title. Simultaneously, there's so much greatness about Jimmy, Joe, and John Anik. Outside of the fact that they look like a shiny set of testicles next to each other because ain't nobody got a damn bit of hair between the three of them. They're good together. Joe was stoned and fun and just like, if I was a conspirator, right? Like he was having a good time. And it's because Jimmy really carries a lot of punch. Like he's good. I was impressed. I mean, after having to listen to Mark Jackson and fucking Jeff Van Gundy, just royal man of the NBA. It's like pulling into one of those concrete embankments. This was way better.
I have to ask you this because we haven't really talked to any NBA stuff. Are you okay?
No, but okay. Next season, whatever.
It happened. And you know what the nice part about it is? The season finale of LeBron losing. Amazing. Loved it. Didn't see the whole he injured his hand thing coming in the first game. But you know what? It's a nice parallel because Bobby Knuckles had his hand get broken. Still was champion at the end. Just saying.
100% chance LeBron punched J.R. Smith, by the way. 100% chance.
And I want to make it clear, whoever is responsible for this, go back, find them. Tell this person, if you know who they are, listeners, who said, JR goes to LeBron. Don't worry, we'll get them in Game 5. You give that person a raise.
Give that person a Pulitzer.
Yeah.
It was great. That is a great joke.
100%. Like, I almost wanted to be like, Kev, can we just do 1 hour of talking about that joke? Because fuck everything else. You guys know how you feel about these fights. That deserves the recognition that I feel we should be giving Mike the Truth Jackson. Let's discuss this, though, Kev. As all these things are happening, we know that there's some good. Ronda Rousey's going to go into the UFC Hall of Fame. She should. She should be in there, and we can put a nice close and hopefully a little bit of an upbeat part to the end of her chapter because the same people who now don't really have CM Punk to shit on for a little while are going to try and figure out what they're going to hate on. And it's going to get dicey. So look out amongst yourselves to see who might get the reciprocating of internet hate. So those are just a few things that I think strike me. But Kev, there's also another thing that was kind of weird. Did you see this? That Donald Cerrone was actually a breakdancer?
So this part, I've never been so simultaneously not surprised and surprised about something as I saw it. I was like, oh, sure. Like I had but I forget the text. I don't remember what I saw or like the re-Instagram, but the incorporation that, yes, he obviously has some skills. And I enjoyed his, like, as soon as a circle and a boombox breaks out, which doesn't seem like it happens very often. That's just a gut check. Unless he's counting Bluetooth speakers, he just likes to use the phrase boombox because I'm with you. It's a great phrase for mobile music. This has to happen in the worst way.
Yeah, getting him with Gio and Boogie and Tony Ferguson needs to happen in my life. And here's the thing. I don't need to have their roles being advertised. It's just something I hope for Gio and Boogie and Tony because I have no stake in it, but I just think to myself, wouldn't that be cool that one day you just either hear a story or you just know that those guys got to like train and breakdance together? Because I'll tell you this much, if they brought me into that conversation, I'm like, I'm not a breakdancer, nor am I very good at jiu-jitsu. I'm just a friend, and you're welcome for putting this together.
You have that's like a Coca-Cola. I'm just a friend. I'm just here because I enjoy breakdancing and jiu-jitsu.
They can put up a nice little fold-out chair. I will sit down. I will ingest it if I am so invited. I do not need to be. I just wanted to put it out there that when I saw Gio say, yeah, I'm down to do that, I just thought, yeah, somebody needs to make that happen. Well, and if I'm being so kind, Kev, if Boogie did interject his way into the proceedings, this is exactly how it would have sounded. Yeah, I just love this because this is my brother, and we would get there, and you guys, It's just all love, and I really want to get out there, and it would be so great. I would love to do that. Let's go ahead and let's make it a dream, a possibility, with a reality. Thank you.
I think you should host it because to me this has the most jiu-jitsu 8 Mile thing we've ever had possible. Like no one's ever been closer to cracking that code. It's like these guys are going to roll, then they're going to break dance, then they're going to roll break dance. So everybody tack in your butts. It's going to get great.
So anyway, they're breakdance fighting. And to close out, I guess, our quick little recap of things, I just want to say this, and I don't think we really need to put too much on this because I think we both agree on it. But Kev, Henzo, please don't. One fighting.
I saw
please
that.
Don't.
Yeah.
We love Henzo. We love one. I'm good. And
we love him like we love Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Like we do not want to see Joe Montana behind center for the Miami Dolphins. No. I mean, I understand he was a 49er or a Chief, but those are kind of quarterbacks.
That would just kind of what would happen in today's climate.
They're like, we got to send him someplace warm. And San Diego already has a 50-year-old quarterback, so it's the only place.
So I feel that those are the things to do. But, Kev, when you really want to feel comfortable, you don't even have to retire, do you?
You don't. All you have to do is suit up with the right pre, post, under training garments, North-South Jiu-Jitsu. You can find their sizes, and Raph, I'm a huge fan of the A1 through A4 system because I hate having to put in extra large. I always feel like I'm getting judged. It's like, can we just assign a numerical value that doesn't have such a connotation to it, which is the extra? Not at North-South. They get it. Some of us were built big with junk in the trunk, or as Cisco sang about that thong song. Not the point. NorthSouthJiu-Jitsu.com. What's under your gi?
100% hearing about the dump truck in an email.
If that song was about world peace, we would have world peace by now. That's how catchy the tune and the melody are.
Can you give a retroactive Pulitzer Prize? Because if we're giving one to the person who made that meme for JR, I feel like we can give one to Cisco retroactively. It's just for your work in the thong song.
He should have a best supporting actor nod for Get Over It, a movie he was in.
That was the era when they just made 3-word titles.
Yeah.
Get over it. She's all that.
Oh my God.
Oops.
You just named 2 of the best movies in history. But, Raph, today it's 101 degrees in Denver. That's where we're at. There's heat advisories. No one is outside, except yours truly, riding his bike, having no problems. Because at one point, I was frustrated with the crowd of low-quality, bad-tasting, artificially flavored crap. Not anymore. Friends at Proven Nutrition have hooked us up. You get their core drink. You can bike your way through the tough degrees outside. Get that knee warm. Get a little closer to training. ProvenNutrition.com. I was jamming the core drink as I was rolling out. It's good electrolytes. It's not going to get me all fried out because it's got sugar and the sun's not going to feed off it and be like, you're mine. The exact opposite. This is nutrition you can trust. Head on over to ProvenNutrition.com. Enjoy yourself this summer. Get what makes you feel good. Get what will push you a little further. Put it in Kevin 10. Everyone will be happy. Raph 10, whatever. Can we go find out who won in this over-under series? Because I've never been more confident that I should have picked Holly Holm.
No one judges you. But yes, let us transition now. Let's do it.
Quiet on set. Record.
Hey, everybody. We've got some things to talk about here. It was a rough, I don't want to give away anything. You watched it. You know what happened. What you don't know is the story behind the stories. And Kev, that is what we are here to do. We are here to fill the ellipsis known as what you saw and what you might not have seen behind the scenes. Is that not true? Is that not part of what we do here at Verbal Tap?
You already accidentally slipped in the word heel, which is going to apply to one of the up-and-coming fighters who aggressively cuddled his way to a decisive victory, and I'm excited to hear more about the behind the stage. And I also just want to make a quick plug. Yoel Romero should be a stand-up comedian. I don't understand why he's doing this fight stuff. The last 2 minutes of that fight were the best of the night because it was just like, what did he say? That was lovely. In my humble opinion, he should be a comedian.
Well, Kevin, that's great. And speaking of comedians, it's important that we bring on funny people onto the show to match the kind of hilarity that you got at UFC 225. When those people aren't available, you bring on the next best thing, which is one, David Hulsey. Dave, we've got some questions for you, but let's start with this. How do you feel on this wonderfully sunshine, go on your porch filled day?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, like I said, I'm tired from a long weekend, but it's good. I got to watch the fights last night, and left with some of the same feels that you were discussing, but yeah, good day.
Okay, well, how can it be a good day?
Ref, can I interject? Hold on.
Go ahead.
Best roller coaster you might have seen or hit yesterday evening?
Well, gentlemen, as we discussed in the last episode, I'll grapple pretty much any man on the planet. I'll ride bulls. Davey doesn't do roller coasters. So
what?
No, I didn't ride one, man. I walked that park probably 95 times with myself, my daughter, and her 3 friends, and I was a glorified chaperone, man. Made sure everything went smoothly.
A very well-qualified one, but the bullbucker being like, that rotating octopus looks like too much. I'm not going to get on that zipper because I don't need chiropractor bills out the yang. You girls have fun. This is my favorite.
I was looking at some of those rides, and I'm like, you know what? That can't be good for my knees. That can't be good for my neck. No, I'm good.
Were any of the rides live animals hell-bent on goring you?
Touche, but that was another life. That was a long time
ago. Okay. Well,
Kev, this is normally the part when I say, please put your bullshit questions aside, but you got to the real deep cuts here because that gave us the best intel that I would have never had had you not asked that. Dave saying that he doesn't do roller coasters is not only a glorious omission that would have gone unforeseen on this podcast, but now we have something to hold over his head forever because I was trying to ask you originally, Dave, before Kevin interrupted with some glorious interruptions. But here's the question I had for you. How can you be having a good day the day after all of us saw perhaps one of the worst fights of all time on a pay-per-view? I open my question to you now. Go on, sir.
Well, for me, it's a little bit easier because Mike is a homie of mine. So, you know what? It may not have been the showing that everybody wanted from him, but I'm happy for one of my homies that got a payday out of it. And ultimately, he got to shut somebody up that was running their mouth. You know, that was Mike's first admission in this. He said he wanted a piece of Punk because he was calling him a can after the Gall fight and this, that, and the other. So ultimately, we got to find out who the can was in the situation. So, you know, good for him on that side of it.
This is an interesting thing because when he said that he was responding to Punk calling him a can, is that really an insult? If you are being called a can from CM Punk, it shouldn't even register on your radar. Now, I understand fights need to be hyped, and these things can somehow get under people's skin. But I could tell you, if CM Punk, and this is even after his last fight, called me a can opener, I'd just laugh. I'd just go, oh, okay, sure, whatever you say, buddy.
Yeah, fair enough. And on Mike's side, and like I said, if I was in his position, I would have done the same thing. He saw an opening to get another UFC fight, to get another, you know, decent sized paycheck. So why not?
Well, decent for once. I want to bring this up because you're taking the nice guy approach to talking about his fight, but we need to get into where my belief system is, because all last week we put up a meme and it was Dana White sizing up CM Punk. And the meme that we put up was Dana White looking at him and saying in his head, I hate you so goddamn much, but you're the only draw I have left on pay-per-view. Now, a lot of people forget the fact, because they don't like the fact that CM Punk made his way onto the pay-per-view. Dude has a name. People really don't like that. Then they go on the idea of, well, he's really not a great fighter. And unfortunately, that part is so much true. Now, Kev, the last time CM Punk had a fight, I don't know if you recall what I said, but I said that I wished he would have made it to at least a second round. Do you remember this?
I don't, but that feels like something you would say because you've really wanted this to happen.
Well, I wanted him to at least get a taste of what it felt like to train for so long and to get something out of it. Because when he got mauled by Mickey Gall, it just felt like, oh God, this is an assault. We should call this to our local authorities. This is just mean. But at least with him and Mike, there was a little bit better of a matchup. Because when I saw the two of them together, I go, all right, they kind of... Obviously, Mike's pulling ahead very easily, but it's not as bad for either of them as they both looked against Mickey Gall. So step one, A+. But B, wanting him to get it to a second round was something that as I saw him throw his first kick, I said, no, we're good. We're good here, everybody.
Here's how I feel. I feel like we saw CM Punk's best. The problem is it's just way below the industry standard. It's like, who told you we wanted your best? Like, what we need is this, which is your ability to swing and fight. And what you brought us was something else. I did enjoy the conspiracy theories that were even being semi-floated by Joe Rogan that maybe Mike Jackson had a payday on the side to help. Well, I'm not going to confirm that with the Lonestar Grappler rap. I'm not going to say, hey, did Mike Jackson take a little money to make sure that fight took it to the distance? Because it's none of my business. That's why I'm not going to ask it. But wow.
Fair enough.
But if he did ask it, what would Dave say?
I have no clue. All I know on it is I reached out to him and congratulated him on the win, and have just seen the backlash and what Mike has said and what Dana and everybody else has said on the post fight show, and I think Mike even said it in one of the interviews. I think with Ariel or one of the guys that he was tough and he cracked him a couple of times, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but Mike did get popped at least once in the mouth, and that might have been a heavy enough punch for him to realize, man, I don't want to stand here and just open up and tee off on him and then get caught. And then, because then he would be getting even more flack than he is right now. If you get knocked out by Punk, that would be pretty terrible. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's address a few of the things you're bringing up as the birds chirp in the background when it sounds like a Disney movie. But I want to make sure that we address, here's what happened to those of you who don't know. All right. The fight goes on. It's not great. It happens for 3 rounds. Midway through, you're probably thinking to yourself, why is this fight even happening? Now, we had people who were saying...
insulting about one thing.
What is that,
You're being insulting about one thing. Hot take. We saw the most jiu-jitsu we saw in the main card in this fight. That's fact. It wasn't a good knee bar attempt. It wasn't a good one, but it was an attempt.
And your boy called it Punk pulled guard, gentlemen.
And stayed in guard, which I thought was a choice. It was like, are you enjoying the elbows? Yeah, I guess he was. I guess he was. I don't know.
So you're both addressing things that are important.
Go on.
Now.
Shitty fight, except for its astronomically beautiful jiu-jitsu comparatively.
Here's what I do want to say, though. As it was happening, it was a hypnotic train wreck, is how I was describing it in my own brain. Sure. Because I said, I can't take my eyes off this, though I know it's one of the worst things I've ever seen in the UFC. And you wish it would be better, but then you also realize there's no way this could be any better than what it is. You are getting exactly what you were paid for. Now, we did have some people, and this is why I reference it like this, say it's the worst thing they've ever seen. I can attest to this because worldwide, there were better fights in the bars it was being streamed, and telecast in than as it was on TV. So for once, bar fights were better than what was on the UFC. So congratulations, bars and dive bars. It's a big day for you guys. 2, Kevin, you bring up the idea of this rolling knee bar that he was going for. And even Mike in his post presser said, yeah, he went for that. I was a little surprised by that. I think everybody did a very collective, oh, well, okay, that's a thing.
He didn't look that surprised by it. Mike looked only about 10% surprised by the attempt.
I think Mike was being conciliatory.
Okay.
But also, here's an interesting thing that happened here. So this is the part I'm not sure that people are registering. To us who show up week in and week out, or general MMA fans, it was not great. And one of the most not great things we've ever seen. However, to the people who only come in every once in a while, not just Punk's fans, or not just including the fact that Punk helped to break records with his Chicago draw out there. They said it was one of the biggest draws at the United Center that's not anything to do with basketball, which you figure, consider the talent that's been at the United Center, and then understand that they were doing standing room only. There is an element of Punk's draw there. But the fact of this, gentlemen, as you're watching how terrible this is, to everybody else who's tuning in, maybe for the first time, including Dana White, including Joe Rogan as well, people were saying you have to admire Punk's heart. Okay. Dave, do you have a response to the grit and heart displayed by one CM Punk?
I mean, yeah, you saw it. He took a relative whooping. Yes, I think Mike could have put it in another gear and finished the fight, but he didn't want to, slip up. But the heart side of it, if you followed him in his previous career and you watched him in pro wrestling, he was known for being able to take a whooping. I mean, watch when he, in the pro wrestling world would go against Brock or any of the other guys. I mean, they would ragdoll him. And whether it's predetermined or not, you're tough to be able to take that kind of beating on your body. So I wasn't surprised on that, other than the fact that that beating was designated for his face, and he weathered the storm and stuck it out.
Sure, if Brock Lesnar is suplexing me, I don't care how scripted it is. I'm getting hurt.
Gravity is gravity, man. Yeah.
And I mean, he's had brutal matches against The Undertaker, and I mean, nobody survives those. We've seen that. Now, Kev, here's an interesting element to all of this. So we brought up the fact that there were a lot of casual fans who had a lot of admiration for his heart. Dave brings up an important thing, which is he did take some of his punches to the face. But did you also know there was an interesting aspect, and he alluded to this earlier, that Dana White was furious with Mike Jackson? Why do you think that is?
Well, Dana seems to deal with some latent, I don't want to call it race-based issues, but he does seem to have a type. He has a short fuse, and frankly, the weed comment was genius. Mike Jackson is clearly smarter than anyone that's ever worked for the UFC or done their PR. So I enjoyed his after the game speech, and I presume Dana is pissed because, in Dana's world, every fight should end with a crushing TKO. I would imagine it's either that or it was the weed comment.
Okay.
Neither are warranted.
Really didn't have much to do with the weed.
Damn it.
So this is Dana behind the scenes afterwards, where he said, you got to admire Punk. He went out there. He's a nice guy, but and then he took a second. He looked at everybody. Goes, did he retire? And he actually stopped mid-question in response to go, did he retire? I don't know if he got sent to the hospital. Yeah, a lot of people got sent to the hospital tonight. All right, next question. But when he responded about Mike, he goes, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that guy's 0-2. I didn't really care for what he was doing. I mean, the whole showboating. He could have finished that fight, but he didn't. And he was also suggesting that Mike will not be invited back to the UFC. So there is an interesting thing that happened where you had to admire Punk's heart, became the new narrative. And then, yeah, sure. Dana White also got to play both sides. If to give you an indication of where his brain was lying, here it was. He said, he was like, oh man, that should have been on Fight Pass. And so I thought to myself, what a fucking reversal of fortune from one Dana White 2 weeks ago is saying, I'll start over him. Yeah, if he sells as many pay-per-views as Punk, then that'd be a thing. Then to come through, make the money after you get all of the money cleared and checked and counted, then to say, yeah, that should have been on Fight Pass. If I could do it again, if I had any pull, I mean, I'm just the president of this place, so fuck you guys. I just thought, well, you're going to burn and discard Punk very quickly. But Kev, is there the responsibility that Mike Jackson is supposed to finish that fight in your estimation?
No, he was hitting him in the face pretty hard. I mean, at a certain point, right, I guess he could have laid it on, but Whitaker broke his hand, so I don't pretend to know the ins and outs of
sure.
Punching people repeatedly is not great for your health. So if you've won the fight and you're beating the shit out of someone and he just kind of won't get KO'd, more power to you.
But now I'm going to turn this over to Dave. Dave, was Dana taking kind of the older brother syndrome of when you leave your older brother and in charge and you're a parent and the younger brother fucks everything up, and then you go back to the older brother when you get home and you're like, how'd you let this happen? And it's like, what? Why am I getting the blame for this? Is that what you feel for one Mike Jackson, or do you feel that he should have finished the fight? And mind you, I will text this to him.
Man, again, I think Dana's with the whole where the fight was lined up on the card and everything else, he had a win-win situation. You know, if Punk would have gone in there, or say they would have had a war, or it would have been a great fight, and this wouldn't have been the narrative, as you would say, then you know, he could say he was the promoting genius that he really is, but you know, he missed the mark on this one. And being that it didn't perform, he could, you know, throw him under the bus. Me personally, as the type of fighter that I am, I'm going to try to finish it every time, almost to a fault, to where I might get reversed. I might get caught. You know, Punk was, I think those were triangles that he was trying. Maybe it was this cool new submission that I don't know about because he's way better than me.
Somebody at my viewing party at the bar yelled out triangle, and I just looked at him and I go, he doesn't know what that is. Yeah, everybody just stopped and goes, that was mean, Raph. And I go, do I look wrong? In theory, he had celebrity jiu-jitsu. And you know what's great about celebrity jiu-jitsu? You get 100% of the submissions you go for in celebrity jiu-jitsu. So it's not to say that mat time isn't welcomed or appreciated, or the fact that he's doing jiu-jitsu. But, you know, yesterday we didn't claim it. So the sport of jiu-jitsu said, no, thank you. Having said all that, I want to bring this up before we move on, which is this. Mike, in response to Dana's accusations that he should have fixed the fight, or not fixed the fight, words that, because Dana was saying, you know, again, playing that other side, which anytime somebody does this, I always think of that Sean Connery quote from Entrapment, where I just want to accuse somebody of being like, you're playing both sides. Because when he said that, he goes, yeah, I didn't appreciate the fact that he kept looking over instead of trying to finish CM Punk. And I thought, okay, I kind of get that. He figured he was kind of showboating. Mike then responded by saying that he was looking at his coaches to figure out what to do. Here's my comment on that. If you're well ahead on the scorecards and in the fight, and you're fighting CM Punk, you don't need to look at your coaches. You're good. Just do what feels natural and just finish the fight. So it did seem like he kind of let him make it through. If, as an amateur analyst, no more amateur than CM Punk is an amateur fighter. Anyway, long story short, let's move on to the next fight. Gentlemen, we both have opinions on a lot of things, but none more so than how much we love Yoel Romero. Kevin, you were speaking his praises, and you said that he should be a comedian. But can we also acknowledge the fact that he fought a good fight, and there are some who are suggesting like 100% of people named Yoel Romero believed Yoel Romero won that fight in the hospital this morning. So do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
I don't agree with that. I think when you're fighting the champ, you got to take it. I don't think he took it. I thought he took 2 rounds. I understood the split decision. And had he won, I wouldn't be like, what? I certainly think he has an argument. But he couldn't see and like seemed to be getting really effed up at times in the middle. So to not be able to beat a guy who was kind of playing with one hand, though, I guess, I mean, he came damn close. Like, he certainly has an argument. But this fight, it wasn't like he didn't have a chance. The first 3 rounds, they didn't really do anything in the first 2 rounds to get to each other. And I just want Yoel to move up a weight class. He's a big dude. Just be healthy. He's going to be a big dude at whatever's next. So I kind of want him to do. That was what I left with this fight. 'Cause it's like, he's got so much talent. He can knock out anyone at any time, but he also looked like zombie Yoel, not fresh. I woke up and had a nice smoothie Yoel.
I will say, at the bar, there was definitely a moment when I said, why is Yoel fighting like an evil boss in an arcade game?
He did, yeah. Like
he
was
anytime he took any danger, he would like stagger back, and you would almost see him turning that flashing red that you know that the villain's about to die, and you go, Bobby, finish him. But that was just my perception. Also, just to point this out, I saw the fights over at a place called the Oaks over here in LA. And the best part about the Oaks is there was one television where everybody appeared blue. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with that television, but it was like watching Avatar. That's how blue these people were. And I go, how tripped out are the people who made that TV go? Dave, did Yoel win or lose that fight?
I thought he lost. Same thing as Kev. I thought he lost 3-2. Yes, he knocked Whitaker silly a couple of times. But 100%, you've got to go in there and you've got to beat the champ. You have to, beat the brakes off of him in order to take that belt in a decision. And in my personal opinion, in my mind, rather he got screwed over, getting pulled an hour early from his 2 extra hours that he needed for weigh-ins or whatever they're trying to claim for the 0.2 that he missed. You automatically start in the negative in my mind if you missed weight. You tried to game the system or whatever. You just weren't prepared. So I'm going to look at you in a negative light starting
did
out.
Text me and you said, see, he's a cheater. And Kev, when I went to go trade and he just goes, see, he's a cheater, I thought he was talking about you. And I go, oh, wait, probably. I don't know. And there was no context. It was just, yeah, see?
Yeah, Kevin probably.
And I had to ask him, I was like, be clear on who's being the cheater and why they're a cheater. And he was the one to break it to me that Yoel didn't make weight. Now, you alluded to the fact that he had some run-in with the commission. Can you explain your perception of what happened?
Well, and this is just something that I've said with anybody that misses weight. It's you agree to terms of a fight, whether it's this weight or that. And I've fought 20, 30 pounds above my weight, so I don't think it should be that big of a deal. But anyways, he got he missed weight on the first time. Whether it's early weigh-ins, late weigh-ins, guess what? You have 6-8 weeks to plan for this fight. So you're just adjusting your weight cut by 12 hours. So it really shouldn't matter if you're going to make weight in the morning, you're going to make weight in the afternoon. He missed weight at the first time. So they gave him another 2 hours. And then I guess he was really tired because he missed weight the first time. So his coaches said, okay, we'll give you, 45 minutes or so to relax and just kind of catch your breath. And then we're going to start getting this 0.2 off of you, in the final hour. And supposedly the commission came in, with 1 hour left and said, okay, well, time's up. You got to go now. Which if that's the case, that's unfortunate. It sucks that you weren't completely prepared and you missed weight the first time, man. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me.
This is tough for me because I do feel how you feel. However, I am a stickler for the rules in terms of, well, what are you supposed to be allotted? Because I couldn't tell if his team wanted to come back early and they stupidly brought him back too early. That's kind of the way I thought I heard it. And to hear Dana White then do the recap, which was, no, it sounded more like the commission came back and then said, hey, you've got to go after just 45 minutes, not giving him his full 2 hours to show up. Now, your larger contention here, if I'm listening right, is you should hit that mark at the very beginning, right? Is that kind of what you're arguing?
Especially in, I get it. There's been certain cards, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there's been certain cards where you see 3, 4, even sometimes, 5 guys miss weight by that same 0.2 to 0.5 margin.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people that don't normally miss weight. So maybe that's a commission thing. Maybe that's a scale. There's variables, right? Maybe you're pushing on the towel and trying to make yourself lighter. I don't know. But
I was just about to say, everybody needs to go to the Daniel Cormier School of 0.4 pounds.
Right?
Don't fuck off.
And the other side of it is, I don't know if y'all noticed this. I'm going to try it next time I weigh in. Yoel did do like this big exhale, like his air weighed more. So he's like, before he gets on the scale, he goes and exhales really hard. And I was like, dang, man, maybe that was like 0.3 right there. And he just needed one more like little burp or something. He could have made weight. But,
it's kind of like when you make your heart stop on the heart monitor when you're being under oath and they're like, we're doing this test. That's bullshit anyway. But then someone holds their breath and they go, I didn't commit that crime.
Maybe Wim Hof can make him make weight.
If he had ripped a 0.4 pound fart, I would have officially become a Yoel. It's like you're 185.2. He just crushed it. It's like 184.8. He's in. Yay.
Can I point this out? Both of Kevin's major interruptions to the stream of thought have been knocked out of the park home runs today. The first one gave us Dave being afraid of roller coasters. The second one being like, nope, got a fart joke. Allow me to do it.
A leg locker.
Always time for fart jokes, man.
Yeah, there's, it's a bank because it works rough.
Kev, here's the issue, though. So this whole thing brought to light something that made the bald father very, very angry.
Did anything make him happy, including his $1 million salary last night? I just don't. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, I mean, he was testy to the media yesterday for this mirror thing,
Imagine how I felt paying for that piece of shit.
Kev, it's not about you right now. Kev wants to have his own press conference being like, I've got a few things to say. Ask me questions about me paying for this bullshit.
You made money, Dana. I'm a sucker over here.
Kevin, nobody's ever hosted their own rival post presser, but we need to fly you out just so that you can have the table next to Dana and go, I've got some things to say too. Who wants to ask me questions? So, Kev, here's what he was mad about. This whole weigh-ins fiasco is now they do the early weigh-ins and then they do the ceremonial weigh-ins at 4:00, right?
Yeah, that's there. Everybody's here and we're not actually staring at the number on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Guess what? Dana wants to do away with that. And what Dana says goes. Because when they asked, they said, hey, Dana, we spoke to some of the fighters and there seemed to be kind of a split. More people seem to be a little bit more toward maybe keeping the 9 a.m. win so that they can rehydrate and they can get their bodies back in order. And Dana goes, yeah, well, we talked to more people, okay? Which is a great answer for science, by the way. Oh, you did? You talked to some people? Well, we talked to more. There's like 500 fighters. We talked to all of them. And I thought, man, Trump is really rubbing off on Dana here.
I was going to say it's a Trump answer.
It's 100%. And as he's responding to them, Kev, he then declares, fuck your research to the 5 or 6 people you talked to tonight who agreed with you. We're going to go back to 4 because he says the science suggestions, which, by the way, is a brilliant way of saying, believe me, okay?
Yeah,
believe
trust me.
Everybody knows it. You know it. I know it. And
Science.
2, when he does respond like this, Kev, he was making it so clear that there's been a downward trajectory of fighters making weight since they went to early weigh-ins. Now, he said he heard different appeals from a number of people, but there's one I wanted to bring up to everybody's attention, which he said Eddie Alvarez brought up a really good point, which was if you're not going to make weight, you're just not going to make weight. It doesn't matter what time it is. You're just going to be one of those people. It doesn't matter if it's 9 a.m. or whatever. So he says that as part of his argument. I go, that's not too bad. But then Dana falls back on this line of reasoning when she goes, and do you guys know fighters? They're not early morning people. So, yeah, I mean, they don't like getting up. And I go, dog, this is the worst. Is this the science you're falling back on? So, Kev, I ask you this question. What scientific method did science get used in Dana White's research?
Yeah, Raph, you're just being another liberal, condescending asshole right now. This is clearly from the steep sleep. No, hold on. I think sleep study of Stephen Grobbs. I'll have to look at it. Doesn't matter. It clearly says fighters, extreme people don't get up early. That's fact. That's science fact. It's also, it might be in the Bible. It might be religious science and fact. And this is just you. I don't know.
Well, I have canceled my subscription to Fighter Pajamas monthly magazine, but the fact that fighters just wake up and don't want to be there. I mean, I wish I could tell my boss that and him look at me and go, "Oh, you don't want to be here? Well, I'll do a press conference. Fuck these clowns." So when somebody asks about it, they just go, "All right, is that what we're going to, are you going to look more into it?" He goes, "Nope, they're back. 4 p.m. That's the new weigh-ins. That's all we're going to, there's no debate. There's no debate." So that's
Debates
what set
for
him off
losers.
there. I want to switch over, Dave, on this as we kind of round a third on this Yoel and Bobby thing. I want to bring up a couple more facts. Number one, how did we get this good of a fight when Yoel's eye got busted up in the first round and Bobby Knuckles' arm goes to mush to the point where he becomes, for just last night only, Bobby Elbows?
Man, I mean, it's obviously Bobby Knuckles is the best in the world for a reason. Yoel Romero is a freak of nature. He's been on, every world team and Olympic team in the past and all these other things. You got guys like DC calling him the greatest wrestler in MMA history. And he's put the majority of the division away, excluding, Robert Whittaker. So, not surprised, man. They both have heart for days. Yoel was eating head kicks like cookies and just kept on coming. So, yeah, it was definitely, if memory serves, I think our boy Kev called it fight of the night. So,
Did you, Kevin?
Yeah, it was.
Good work, you. Unfortunately, because Yoel came down with a case of fat, and I want to speak to this. It is hard for that man to lose weight because his muscles can't lose any more weight.
I was just going to say, was he supposed to cut off an ab? Like, how's he supposed to do this?
So he couldn't win any of the bonus. So $100K of the fight night bonus, instead of just 50, went to Bobby Whittaker. Kev, there's some interesting news that happens here as well. So these two definitely go down their separate paths. Yoel is saying this morning he thought he won the fight. Bobby, and I thought this was the most choice moment, Bobby got asked by Joe Rogan in the post-presser if he would welcome a rubber match. Now, normally one person has to win each of those fights to merit a rubber match. Did you see the look on Robert's face when asked, would you like to fight this behemoth again?
It looked exactly, I mean, I can only associate it to every time I took an Algebra 2 test. It's just like, do I have to? Like, is that a prerequisite? I mean, I thought I did 2 already. Did I not? So I was with him. He was like, I just broke my fucking hand on this guy's face. Like, what do you... No, I don't want to fight him again. Done. I think if Whittaker just holds out, there's no way Yoel Romero's diet can sustain like this. I mean, he's already pushing it. He'll go up a weight class.
Well, that's the thing. Dana was saying he believes he should go up a weight class.
Of course he should.
I just love the fact that as Bobby got asked that question from Joe Rogan, he did the most beautiful transition into, I'm going to go back and talk with my coaches after I literally told you, Joe Rogan, he hits like a motherfucker. Don't ask me that question now. I don't want to fight him again. I've beaten him twice, and this one just barely, because that motherfucker had his back. And if Yoel's corner yelled anything other than, hey, he might have actually knocked Bobby out when he took his back if he had done some work while Bobby's kind of internal and trying to I guess, see a higher power as that was happening. So those are kind of the notes and whatnot on that. Let's get to the other fight that I think is one that we should talk about, though. We're in a new era, gentlemen. When we talk about the fact that there are a lot of things that pro wrestling kind of happened yesterday, was that whole Mike Jackson fight something that was set up? Was he paid off a little bit more? Did Punk do a job? All of these questions that I know people are asking. The real question is this. Did anybody else see the face turn by one Michael Bisping as Colby Covington tried to out shit talk Michael Bisping? Dave, did you see this?
Yeah, I did, man. Bisping seemed like he was getting a little irritated, obviously, because Colby was kind of taking a little bit of his stick, but then at the same time, he was trying to do the big brother thing and I think give him some good advice, like, listen, just enjoy this moment a little bit instead of being, such a dick. But he's embracing it, man. He's going full force into it. So more power to him.
I just thought it was fascinating, Kev, to see retirement is treating Bisping very well, because now he can just do what Chael did, which is, I'm going to call you guys out because I don't have to do the tricks anymore. And it was fascinating. Did you see the interview?
I did. I also thought, from Bisping's perspective, I feel like he learned a valuable lesson from Mr. Georges St. Pierre and has decided it's like, I'm retired. And I'm sure he is retired until someone's like, hey, we were going to give you so much money to fight Colby Covington. I'm sure he is retired till that time. So I'm impressed. I'm good with... I don't know what Colby Covington's deal is. He seems like someone that's trying to figure out how to talk shit, that it doesn't come very naturally, I guess is the best way to say it, because it feels like there's a disjointed breathiness to it, that it's like, watch Mike Jackson. Mike doesn't have this problem when he's hitting the punctuation. I just don't ever quite believe Colby. That's my...
Here's a fun part of Colby's thing. So with Colby, it's a shtick. So that's kind of your gimmick, if you would, in comedy. And you can tell that because he's giving himself what you talk about Willis catchphrase when he looks at people and he goes, oh, look at these filthy animals. Oh, man, these filthy animals over here. And you go, do you have any other things you say? Because, man, that was 4 months ago, wasn't it? Are we done with that yet? Did you come up with some new shit? So when he was testing out his new material, it's not like he gets to go to the Hollywood Improv and really test out his shit talking. You're seeing it render real time, and it's not fun. It's really boring. And more importantly, it's embarrassing because you look at him and you say, dude, this is an awesome night for you. You are the almost champion. And that's impressive. I don't know that I see a healthy Tyrone Woodley falling to the same fate that Dos Anjos did. But let's talk a little bit about the strategy. Dave, what did you think about Colby's basically coming out of the gate hot fire? Like, when he went after Dos Anjos, he didn't allow him to get into the fight for the first 2 rounds just by smothering him.
No, you hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, I think that's the way to be able to put it on Dos Anjos. If you stand in the pocket and you want to go tit for tat with him standing, like we discussed, last week, he's going to, piece up guys like Robbie Lawler. So Colby did what he needed to. And then Dos Anjos kind of used Colby's, tactics against him in the middle of that. So, I mean, it was a decently close fight. Colby took it clearly, in my opinion, but, I think he did what he needed to do in order to take out Dos Anjos. But like you said, a healthy Tyron, no, he's not going to be able to do that to him. I think he's got the wrestling and the grappling to stop all that, and the actual knockout power to put Colby to sleep.
Kev, where did it go wrong for Dos Anjos, though?
Somewhere around, I don't know, 3 years ago, probably physically, as his body started to fail him in a way that happens when you're in your 30s, if that's the fairest. Because this was, to me, the classic. Colby just bullied him. That was it. This wasn't a very exciting fight. It wasn't, to me, at least. There was zero jiu-jitsu. There was not a ton of really fun wrestling either. It was mostly like, no, I'm going to hold him here and punch at him, Which is what Dos Anjos does. So it's like, oh, God, this is buckle up, everybody. No one's getting KO'd for the next 24 to 27 minutes. So
I did mention at my viewing party, I said, because one of my homies just goes, there's no way Dos Anjos is going to lose to this guy. And I go, I don't know, man. I said this. I go, I'm rooting for Dos Anjos, but there's a few things that concern me. He's like, what's that? And I go, I just feel like Colby's going to use that wrestling, going to try and neutralize him, and he's going to play the young man's game of, oh, shit, if I let him get into the fight, I'm in trouble. Like, let's not make this a straight-up boxing match. Let's press him up. Let's make him tired. And my buddy looks at me and he goes, oh, that is kind of how it's playing out. And he goes, oh, Dos Anjos can turn it up at any time, though, right? And I go, no, he's suffering from what we like to call getting older. You don't know this yet. You're all of 24. It comes. And when it hits you, there's a moment when you try to say, all right, now I'm in the fight. What's that, body? I'm not? Oh, shit. Well, thanks for letting me know. Be nice if I could actually get into the fight. So.
That's where Sinead O'Connor starts playing in the background for Connor's walking. Yeah. Oh. This fight to me, I mean, do you guys have more on it?
I just want to brush on this. I think we already talked about the future of that belt. I think Colby is going to continue filling it up, but there was one note that has nothing to do with any of that. He was asked if he was going to go take that belt to Trump by Joe. And he basically offered it up. He said, yeah, I'm going to go do that. In the post-presser, Dana asked, hey, are you going to make a call into your buddy? And that's normally a question you go, oh, fuck that noise. Yeah, I'm not going to do that for him. I'm not going to call and bother Trump for that. Dana White actually said, yeah, we'll make that happen. Not, yeah, I'll call him. Yeah, we'll see about it. Dana White said, yeah, we'll make that happen. So it's as if Dana White is picking up the same bat phone that Kim Kardashian uses in order to get a fast pass over to Trump. And I do wonder, it sounds like it very well could happen.
Is this like a champions meeting?
I listen, I think so, but the difference is these other people who are champions are teams, and the fact is they're going to appeal to Trump's ego, which is he shit-talked all of the people you hate. And he's going to be like, oh, I like this guy already. He likes what I like. Bring him. So there's that. But anyway, Kev, you may transition off of this now.
Very pro wrestling heel. To me, I thought the most fun fight in terms of like outside of the big guys, because Arlovsky Tuivasa is just like somebody's gonna die tonight. Home Anderson, that's a fun fight. Anderson's got some skill, but damn. What are you up to, Dave? Do you have time to go teach her jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, man, it was rough, but Home showed another side of her game that she's never shown before in her professional career, is the fact that she could actually wrestle and she could grapple. Size makes a difference, and that if you don't really have a founded grappling game, the longer guy will have a hard time with the shorter opponent. But if she learned how to use those hooks and learned what an underhook was, then she might have been able to make that a different fight for her.
Learned what an underhook was. Okay.
Used an underhook to get up off the bottom.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I was just calculating. I was like, she's plenty of limb space for all the hooks. Megan Anderson, I did enjoy that Joe couldn't get over that she looked like an Avatar character, and he was really obsessed with that.
Man, she does.
I don't know. Maybe Blue. Who doesn't? But
Joe apparently got the live feed that was happening at the Oaks where I was watching it.
There you go. I was going to say ask Raph and his Blue TV.
Absolutely. Gents, there's a whole thing here. Holly Holm had the best answer that even made the bald father happy when asked to Dana, actually. They said, Dana, where do you see Holly going? Does she stay at Feather? Would you like to see her at a different weight? And Dana said, yeah, she told me backstage she sees herself fighting in both. She doesn't need to pick. And that's what she told me. She wants to run and have her feet in both. And I like that answer. And I was like, me too, Dana. All right. High five on that one. So kudos to Holly Holm. She looked good yesterday. I was very happy for her. And you know what the nice part is? I don't know what else they're going to do in that division. So, yeah, sure. Cyborg again. I don't know. At this point, I just want to see Holly Holm continue to get some good fights and be challenged. That's about it.
That works.
Taya Tuivasa is what I like calling him. I was mad at myself for not calling him Tuivasa. Never leave home without it or some bullshit. But beats Andrei Arlovsky. It was an okay fight. I'm intrigued by the fact that Arlovsky can keep himself relevant after all these years. I thought that's interesting and impressive. But yeah, Kev, did you have any more on that fight?
Tuivasa's tattoos have got to be, pound for pound, first of all, the most ink anyone has absorbed in the history of absorbing ink. But second, really painful. That guy is a real puzzle to me. Love him. I like the bike short tattoo. I might do it too. If I just wasn't such a pansy, that would really help with like.
Somebody was saying, because I looked at him and I go, those tattoos he's got are impressive. And they said, yeah, I think they did that old school version of tattooing on him. Like the really painful version. And I was like, oh, I'll check out. I don't need that in my life. So no, thank you. Let's go down the card a little bit. I just want to kind of skip over these, but I don't want to skip over them entirely. Curtis Blades. Over, hey, now you're an all-star Overeem with his attempts at leg locks. If you were to tell me that all-star Overeem was going to be going for heel hooks, I would have told you, Kev, wait, what?
He was losing.
Whoops. So that was weird. I did yell out Danaher DVD at the bar I was at, and it was very well received. So kudos to me on that one as well. Any notes on that one, Dave?
Man, I mean, a couple of things he missed on those leg locks. Again, kudos for going for him, man. You're the greatest heavyweight striker of all time. There's really no arguing that. And you're dropping back for an outside heel hook. Yeah, I mean, he was getting held down, and it was a good attempt. He, the grip was off and the lace wasn't there, but I wanted him to go for it. I think I picked Blades for the fight, and because Alistair's chinny these days, but I kind of switched my pick in the middle of the match. As soon as he went for that heel hook, I got all excited, and I wanted him to take it because, again, kind of like Arlovsky, sticking into the elite level late into his career, which going back, I thought Arlovsky took that fight, but
nobody asked
next time.
That. Okay.
I know.
Just want to make it clear. That wasn't
Just
part of
my
the
2 cents
criteria.
in where I could.
No, that you just did, and that nobody asked you that. So let's move forward. Women's strawweight, Claudia and Carla put on actually a really fun fight. It was scrappy as fuck because at first you looked at Carla just kind of getting rocked a little bit. Found her way to make it a fun fight, so I did enjoy that one. Let's give some props here because I did tweet this out, Kev, and I want to get your opinion on this, but there comes a point when it's hard to talk to fighters about retirement. They don't really want to do it.
No.
But Dana said that he did pull a certain fighter who wanted to fight in front of a Chicago hometown audience afterwards, and he pulled him into his office, which, by the way, if somebody ever says, and this is Dana, ever says he pulled somebody into his office after a fight, that usually means just retirement's kind of coming. So here it is. I want to say this is what I tweeted out. I think I tweeted out, it's like that old adage goes, you either retire or live long enough to see yourself become the main attraction on Fight Pass.
First of all, nice Batman parallels.
Thank
Second,
you.
Rashad, you're going to do great. Everyone's excited for you. Like, head on back down to, it's like Blackzilla. That's not it. Whatever it is. Black House.
No.
What?
Black Zillions?
Black Zillions. I was like, Blackzilla doesn't sound right. Is it Blaws? No, that's not it either. Black
The
Zillions.
most inadvertent fucking blaxploitation drop in we've ever had on the show. You were 2 for 2 until then, Kevin.
I was just trying to get the name of his next step.
Good news though, Spike Lee has optioned Blackzilla, so look for that hitting Netflix in 2 years, guys.
I'm gonna miss some Rashad, but oh my god, is it time to stop fighting professionally? as a mixed martial artist.
I didn't need to say that.
Jiu-Jitsu welcomes you, Rashad. I got my man Dave on the line. You can fight him and fight to win. We're so nice in the jiu-jitsu community. We don't hit you in the face at all, really. I mean, Wagner does a little, but you're way outside of his weight class. Don't worry about it. Just come join the jiu-jitsu crew. You're going to love it, Rashad.
Yep. Now, here we go. Last couple things to mention. Props to Sergio Pettis for getting back in the win column again. And a fun little bout between Joseph Benavidez. And then you got, unfortunately, Clay Guida also falling short in front of his hometown audience. But a very nice guillotine from one Charles Oliveira. Kev, I want to also point this out before we go. Dan Ige made such quick work of Mike Santiago, it looked like a mauling. And I barely tuned in on time on my Fight Pass, and I go, let's see this fight. Oh, it's right at the beginning. All right, I have a second to go ahead and start working on some dishes here. Nope, it's done.
43 seconds is all you had.
Oh, fuck. Well, and the minute you see him climb aboard and start putting in work on Mike Santiago, you go, I feel bad for you, sir. Oh, that feels bad. And that was also another hometown person. So I guess the moral of the story, don't fight in your hometown for this card. I don't know if it happens in the future, but this Chicago crowd was very disappointed. So, Kev, I think we have some results to get to. Do you have some words you'd like to say before you reveal them?
I mean, I guess if I were going to, like, people from Texas, every once in a blue moon, the lightning strikes and they get fucking lucky. And I just can't help but feel like that's where we've arrived at today.
To be fair, isn't that a Garth Brooks song? I feel it is.
There's definitely a few songs about lightning. Yes, from Garth. Okay. Yeah. And the uneducated thunder rolls, to quote the great Garth. This one hurt. The man's got skill, I guess, Raph. In addition to being a fantastic bodyguard at the local carnivals, hits 8 fights out of the 12. I only got 6. Tough balance. This is my worst nightmare. In the next episode, I have to explain to Yoel Romero after his eye gets done swelling why I like him. Go ahead, Dave. Would you like to take a victory lap on your ability to pick fights and just be a more superior human being?
Oh man, I'm not one to gloat too much, but yeah, I'm rarely wrong.
Wow. I mean, let's not start spouting lies just because you won at a thing against Kevin. I hate to break it to you. You essentially beat the CM Punk of over-under, Kevin.
You know, Raph, I don't need your BS. Wow. I was on like a 3-fight win streak until the last 2.
So was CM Punk and those smokers in his gym. He won every one of those.
There's only part of me that just does not believe that. I do not.
There was a report a long time ago before he had his first fight that said he lost every one of those smokers. Let's put it this way, Kev. You did good. You fought your heart out. You got to really respect your heart here, Kev.
No.
Because it's a lot to have heart. And granted, you took a lot of beating in the face region. Yeah. We're getting a CT scan for you just in case, just because of how brutally you got beat. But you're going to put up a tweet a little later that just says, hey, guys, I'm just living my dream.
I'm so pissed. I lost to a 1-star grappler, Ref. This is rock bottom. This is it.
So, okay, now what is it that you lost on this bet, Kevin?
I have to have a 5-minute praise conversation with Yoel Romero. Which means first,
the people's champ, Yoel Romero.
As soon as he gets out of the hospital, which means I have to convince him to get on the phone, which is its own backstage challenge.
But by the way, we have to get a hold of him the minute he gets out of the hospital.
I'm sorry. I love that it was Yoel proclaims from hospital bed, I'm the champ. I was like, God, of course he does. That's the best sentence I have read in a really long time.
In this world of fake news and shitty things that are happening in the world, that does bring you some delight.
Yoel pulls out ventilator to proclaim, I don't think it went that bad.
Well, okay. Well, I've never seen anybody bet as weirdly as Dave has on this over under Kevin, but let's give you some opportunity.
Ref, I'm upset. I was really excited about the 1-star grappler reviews of Dave. I had in my head about what it was going to be. So this is tough for both fronts.
Let you know, Kevin, never had such a vested interest in you winning. So you didn't let me down. You let Yoel down, and he already cut one thing for us this week. So, just saying. So that's a lot to ask.
That's why we need to let him get out of the hospital. we'll find him.
All right. Well, I guess that's what we'll do coming up. Dave, is there anything you'd like to say before we escort you off so that we can send you to the hospital as well to check on your medicals?
No, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me again.
Where can people follow you, maybe?
You can find me on Instagram at Lonestar Grappler, CorvoMartialArts.com or CorvoBJJ.com to link up with the gym, and then catch me on a super fight coming soon with Submission Hunter Pro, who I've been repping with for the last couple years now. So.
And you teach over at your gym, correct?
Yes, sir. Corvo Martial Arts. We're an affiliate of Soul Fighters under Bruno Mendez. And, I've been there for a little over a year. I teach the no-gi over there twice a week. And then we've got another school in Rockwall, Texas, which is probably 45 minutes from where I'm at. And I teach there once or twice a week also. So I'm busy, man.
That's awesome. And if you guys get the opportunity, really, really do follow this man's Instagram. He is putting up some fantastic content, a bulk of which is teaching you guys how to do some really, really solid leg attacks. Of course, that's not all he's teaching. But if you are somebody who might be interested in leg locks, they kind of seem like something the kids are doing these days, I would highly suggest you take some of this solid content that you're getting from this man over here, because I'm bastardizing at least half of what you put up. So I don't want to show you what it looks like, because you look at it and you go, oh, please don't put me as the name responsible for this, Raph. I'm not ISIS. I'm not trying to take responsibility for this.
On the set.
Yeah, quite on.
But I feel go ahead.
No, you're saying, speaking of which, people are trying to get in on this. Yesterday while I was walking around the theme park, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Sugar Show. And they actually trained with Augusto Mendez, which is my professor's brother. And they were saying they've been working legs with him and wanting to get better at that. So, if those guys hear this, get with me and I'll come out to Arizona, or y'all can come out to Texas, and, the Sugar Show can learn some of the Lonestar grappling leg locks, and maybe we'll see that in the UFC before too long.
Well, I can almost assure you they're not. But it's good to put it out there, because you never know who's listening. Sometimes Kevin and I don't. Anyway.
Plus, Raph, check out his advanced series, Avoiding Roller Coasters from All the Tweens in Your Life, Volume 2. No, it's an extra. I think it's a nice thing he does with the heel hooks.
It's a really simple concept in life, and it's something that's really hard for a lot.
Road Bulls, hey, you hypocrite.
The fact that he cut the world's best PSA to be like, well, actually, Kevin, it's a huge issue, and a lot of people suffer from that, you dick. Thank you. I'll let you know Kevin's knee is very weak, so when you roll with him, no big deal. Anyway, Dave, we couldn't be happier that you came on the show. Thank you so much for recapping the show that we saw yesterday, as weird as it was. I'm glad you were here to bookmark perhaps the worst fight we've seen in some time, ? And probably will never see again. So we thank you here for coming here to commemorate whatever the fuck it just was. But we look forward to talking with you in the future again, much, sir.
Appreciate it, fellas. Anytime.
Raph, what a podcast. Never been a big fan of the state of Texas. Always felt like it was Kansas South. But despite that, Dave has a special place in my heart. I'm a big fan of the 1-star grappler. Big fan.
I'm sure you are. Especially, he didn't soundly thrash you, Kev. But I hope you understand, and forgive me for this. I had to get in that CM Punk joke because it's a clearinghouse to me right now for most CM Punk jokes. I'm not saying I'm not going to make any more. I'm just saying, in order to do my part to reduce my carbon footprint of CM Punk jokes, I'm trying to get them all just out of my system now so that I don't contribute to the problem of making really shitty jokes in that department.
In that department, we reserve the right to make really shitty jokes about a lot of other things.
100%. That's what the lawyers told me to say.
What CM Punk? It's nice to have them back after the Cav series. With CM Punk out there, I mean, Raph. I guess. Hold on. Every time they kept talking about his heart, all I could feel was like that same speech where it's like, anyone can do this. Anyone, you, some neighbor, anyone not in shape currently, but really has a knack for heel hooks. Anyone can do this. So I think that was an uplifting part of the whole heart argument.
Don't get me wrong. Love heart. I know it comes in effect. I'm told that when you have it, it's an important element. But I do propose the following scenario, and I'd like science to see if this is actually something that's capable. Can you form Captain Planet without heart? Did they ever try it? Because I just think to myself, that's something you tell somebody who's not getting a participation trophy, but you say, hey, look, we can't form this like superhero without you. You have heart, and it's really what helps. And then he leaves, and there's like, you believe that bullshit? He bought the fact that we can't form them without wind, fire, earth, and water. Nope. Heart's the thing that makes him go, thanks, pal. I'm pretty sure they told him a lie. So I'm just saying, go see if you can form him without heart, and then we'll go from there. But Kev, the one thing that I think we didn't mention that I just kind of laughed at was you could tell that Joe Rogan kind of really didn't want to interview Punk, but when he goes, yeah, I want to talk to you too, and CM Punk goes, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
my face is broken. I've already done my uplifting speech, and I still got shit for it. Or maybe he just didn't know what was happening. Either way, I'm intrigued to hear what Joe has to say about it, because I know he's going to now say we should have never seen that fight, but let's be nice to Punk and say he tried.
So much heart.
So much heart.
It's like it's those pleasantries. It's like, I really love your spirit during that performance. It's like, great. My spirit wasn't the point. Look, we are big fans of anything that they're going to try that's going to put on a show. So CM Punk, Daft Punk, whatever it takes, we are in, and we're more than prepared to hook up a sound booth. That said, if you're going to get this funny, you should hire more funny people. And mostly it's just Joe Rogan right now and Bisping's interpretation of a British comedian. Not going great.
No.
Please help us keep the dream alive. Go shop with our friends at NorthSouthJujitsu.com. Go shop with our friends at ProvenNutrition.com. Raph, it's time for my 54th favorite part of the show, behind our legalese signing, shout-outs. Yeah. Big time going. First, to the people at Garmin that make these little fitness watches. This is kind of a go fuck yourself shout-out. I don't need a text that says move. Because I'm enjoying the fights. It's not my fault they're going 30 minutes a clip, that the 3-round fights are somehow going 20. I was trying to get some exercise. I did a little yoga. But Garmin doesn't need to come at me with its passive-aggressive move texts. So outside of that, headed to Maine this weekend to hang out with the whole Phillips crew on my father's side. We're going to spread some ashes in my grave. It's going to be a fun lobster-filled trip, Raph. That's massive shout-out to the whole Phillips crew for coordinating it, but that's going to do it for me.
Well, okay, that was a lot that you packed into a relatively short amount of time, Kev.
Ping-ponged it, yeah.
You were so angry about getting a note that just says move. And it's a suggestion, at least in my brain, but I understand. It's kind of when people say, Raph, are you really going to finish all that? And I go, yeah. What's the point? Are you trying to... Okay, I was asking for your input. I know what I'm eating. I just feel bad because I wonder if someone dies and then they get a text that says move.
It's like their Garmin watch was a real prick about the whole situation.
All right. Well, let's try and bring this back on an upper, guys. I want to give a shout out to the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club.
LAJJC.
I'll be training there this week. I'm excited for that. I think I've got a really fun interview that I'm doing a little bit later. Speaking of which, I've got some fun IBJJF interviews. They're going up this week, and maybe a surprise or two from yonder. I mean, we're going through our verbal tap clips right now. And there's some stuff in the vault that we've never shared with you guys that we're looking forward to putting up. So look at our YouTube page. Go there, subscribe, do all that good junk. But look for me at the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 8 a.m., and then Tuesday, Thursday at 11:30. And I hear there's a rumor this week, gi on Tuesday, Thursday.
Ooh.
I know. I'm excited for that. Big shout-outs to the Van Nuys crew of 10th Planet Origin, who have taken me in so nicely whenever I go visit for wrestling, and to our pal Bob, a.k.a. Robert, a.k.a. El Castro, for running a fantastic wrestling class today. Kev, you can tell I'm getting older because you know how I kind of injured myself today?
Responsive. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. That was not necessary, but I feel every part of that. Move! That's what you just texted me right now, you asshole. No, I kind of got like a little injured, not fully. I don't think.
Is this the ice pack? See, I was like, oh, he's hot too. Oh, I get it. Sorry,
No.
I didn't even think it was an injury.
I just
What
had a
happened?
slight problem today where I couldn't tell that something was disrupted. I stretched out a lot today, but they came up with this idea of doing a leapfrog kind of warm up. And I did. I got pretty good hops for a person my age.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came down, my whole back just kind of froze. And I said, uh-oh, am I supposed to do things from here? Now, my good friend Gabe, who's an amazing instructor, fitness instructor, he's one of the fight camp guys over there. He and I are very similar in the realm of we do whatever we can to help all of the guys who fight MMA or jiu-jitsu professionally. So we're always the guys who are giving advice. He's wearing glasses. I wear glasses, so we're both smart. But today at wrestling, when it was me and him, he looked at me, and he just had a face that said, "Game on, motherfucker." And I couldn't look and stop at him and say, "Hey, dude, my back sucks. So could you?" Nope, Gabe's trying to kill me. Okay. So I fortunately was able to out-wrestle him, and by that I mean just use most of my weight really against a smaller person for a long period of time. And he was like, "Raph, you've got a good grip." And I was like, "You were trying to hurt me, so I would try to mitigate it by being bigger and fatter." And it worked. Also, my back sucks. So thanks, Gabe. Anyway, good stuff there. We all went out to watch the fights out. So shout out to the Oaks. Shout out to all of the crew for being so nice and kind to us. I appreciate very much. And shout out to Valley Martial Arts Center. I am looking forward to training back there this week, getting to get in some even more good gi training. I also want to send a shout out to the good folks over at our local pet hospital. Lucy, my beloved little puppy, had to go in for some little surgery. That's what they call it for little puppies. They're like, "Oh, she's getting a little surgery." And it's like, doesn't cost a little. But they couldn't have been nicer with her. She's coming back, recovering, and she is running around the house like a mad woman. However, there was a moment when she was on good drugs that she looked at me. And, Kev, you know she talks. So when she looked at me, she goes, "Daddy, I'm on that good drug shit. I see what Kevin's talking about.
Snap.
You need to get on the train and get on some stuff because, fuck, I'm so high right now."
She's right.
And I, for a brief second, contemplated, well, what if I was getting high? I digress. We will not do that right now because you know what? There are people right now competing as we record this high, and we'll have more on that a little bit later on next week's show. And to thank you, everybody who had very nice things to say about our Anthony Bourdain episode. Still obviously is going to affect us, and we'll obviously talk about it, I'm sure, more and more throughout the time. But he left such a great impact, and all of your words are very nice and appreciated. So I think that'll do it for me, guys.
That'll do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I am Kevin. Thank you for listening.
Good night, and good fight. Unless it's the CM Punk one, because that was really not a good fight. But you get the idea. Right. We're done. All things must go.
Use heart.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is